Kofi. I greet you all. You are all welcome in this beautiful home of the queens, where queens are gathering of the queens who are working together as lioness, following this great big vision that has been presented to us as an opportunity of a lifetime. I welcome all the queens. You have come at the right time, a right place, where we are moving by faith and taking everything that we have to see this vision growing to be who it's meant to be, fully manifesting in the whole continent of Africa, the continent of light. I want to welcome our master conductor for tonight, our beloved Queen Tammy, on stage as she comes this evening on the week 6. We are on week 6. We are moving with speed and flexibility. You know, it's one of the things that we've learned on the first week and the second week of the masterclass, that here, as a leader, a great leader, you have to move with speed and be committed and be flexible. And most of all, what some of us had to learn the hard way is humility. Humility will take you to places. You can be talented, gifted, but what will keep you there, it is the spirit of humility. And every week that I've attended the masterclass here, it's growing to a level where I am like, wow, the humility will take you to places. As I welcome our Queen Tammy Mase, who is our leader, our master conductor, that embraces that spirit of humility in her and flexibility. To carry such a big vision, it has to scare you. You know, there's a saying that if your vision is not big enough to scare you, it is not from God. So this one, the moment I saw it, I saw the greatness and how big it is. I knew that this one, it shakes me every time we have this masterclass. I come back on my knees and I say, it can only be God. As I welcome you, Queen Tamimase, we embrace you, your vision, and we are standing behind you to see this big vision, this big, great vision that you are sharing with us. We are so grateful that we could be one of those queens that are presenting this opportunity to other queens to say, here is a African homegrown queen of the soil of Africa, especially here in the southern of South Africa, where we are saying we are proud to see this newborn baby. It's not an idea. You know, when someone is carrying an idea, it's like you are still trying to figure it out. But this baby is born. It's taking stages of growth. And we say, we are behind you to see this baby growing to all the development stages, just like any other baby. And we will feed this baby with all the nutrients that are necessary. So, therefore, this evening, as I introduce you and say, we are proud of you and we are behind you. You are the daughter of the soil. This vision is big. You once said in one of the master class, this is bigger than us. That is humility. Someone who gives birth to a big vision and say, this is bigger than us. You know, without doubt, that there are nights where they are saying, God, it can only be you. I welcome you tonight as the mastermind who is bringing this masterpiece to develop leaders who will have the capacity to be able to multiply whatever that is given to us. We welcome you this evening, our beloved Queen Tammy Massey. Thank you.
Wow, thank you for such a very warm welcome, and welcome to all the queens in the house. It's always good to be on this stage because we know that Wednesdays is our day, and Wednesdays is for the queens to gather here and to build and plan about the future. So I am always looking forward to this time where I could be welcoming all of you because I know that you are here because you want to be part of this building work that we are doing. So welcome to the dinner at the Queen's House. You know, some of us, we call it the House of Queens. You will, if you are new today, you will notice that everyone in this platform is a queen. And, you know, this is a title that every one of us deserves, because queens are mothers, are sisters, you know, and mothers are the ones who build homes. We are here to build homes. We are here to build a queendom of an army of women who will be taking this Africa by storm and rising up this continent. So you are all welcome to this House of Queens. And this is a house of unity, a house of love, a house of respect. So there will be unity. There's never unity without love. There's never love without respect. So you are here because you have accepted an invitation to be amongst mothers, sisters, queens who will be building this continent with unity, love, and respect. And this house, it's not just a house of unity and respect, but we are respecting each other's skin. We are respecting each other's culture, each other's religion. We are respecting everything that we are all made of as queens. And we are all here united by a quest, our very quest to secure the future of our children, to build and protect the legacy of our generation. And we are here to be builders because that's what we were born to. We were born to build. We were born to nurture. We don't only build one another, but we build our communities, we build our nations, we build our continent. And we are here today to discuss and plan about how we are going to take this continent further, how we are going to take this continent to the place where it should be. You know, I always say it in every masterclass that Africa is the mother of the world. And for us to really move forward into building anything, we need to acknowledge that fact that we are the mother to the world. And it is now time for us to really show that. Today, I'm going to do the masterclasses very differently from the previous ones. As my queen has just said before me, this is the 6th masterclass today. And we normally give an introduction. And after the introduction, I would go ahead and present the slides. But today, I'm going to do it a little differently. So if you are new today, you are going to experience something a little different than what you were expecting, because all these masterclasses are a culmination of what we have done in the past. We are continuing with what we have been, doing and engaging in. So if you're new, I'll just give a brief moment to clarify what we are doing here, why we are here, why this masterclass. We all know that we are in an energy crisis, and it is a crisis that needs attention, and it needs urgent attention and a solution. So in the previous masterclasses, we have been taking ourselves back to where this all started and how it started, and how can we bring a solution that will fit humanity. You know, we don't just bring a solution that will be fit for Africa or for our country as South Africa, but we want a solution that will fit the entire globe. We are most fortunate as South Africa because we are right at the peak of a position that is nicely positioned. Of all the countries in the world, South Africa comes number one in terms of positioning and how we harvest the sun, which is energy. So in the past masterclasses, we've been talking about why are we in this crisis? Well, we all know it's global crisis. It's climate change and global warming. And we all know what causes all of that. Climate change, global warming, it's all caused by the fossil fuels that have been burnt over centuries. Currently, we know that our electricity comes from coal, and we all know coal is one of the number one causes of the climate change, the fossil fuels. It has escalated the crisis that we are in now today. But it is always beneficial for us to know where we're coming from before we can come up with a solution of where we're going. We've been talking now, as builders as we are, as the African queens, we have been talking in the past masterclasses in terms of how do we start building this economy, because energy, as Africa, we know that we have been so much rich in mineral resources, our gold, diamond, silver, you name it all. But unfortunately, we are getting, those minerals are getting depleted. Have we benefited from that? Not really. And here we are crying that for the past 400 years, we have been slaves, but not anymore. Now that we are not slaves, how do we take from the past to build the future? We need to build an economy. We are here today to learn from one another on how we can build that energy economy. And how do we build from the ruins of the past? We are currently in the energy revolution. And we know that with every revolution comes solution. And a revolution is something that does not beg you, does not beg me. It comes and it changes everything. We have seen the past revolutions, the industrial revolutions, the first, the second, the third, the fourth. They did not beg anybody to be part of the change, but they were forcing change. So now the global crisis we are experiencing today is creating the fifth industrial revolution. So now energy is ushering in that revolution. What are we going to do with it? We are fortunate as Africa because we have abundance of the sun. Okay, before I can move on, I am seeing messages here on my screen. The Queen say they can't hear anything. And before I move on, I would like a hand or two just to confirm that they can hear me. Queens, can you hear me? Oh, great. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Queens. I've got a few hands that says they can hear me. Maybe those who cannot hear me are having some technical challenges with their devices. If they can maybe look into that. Thank you so much, Queens, for that. So yes, we are deep in the, not even deep, basically, we are at the tip of the revolution that is started by energy. And in Africa, we are most fortunate because what is causing the crisis, we have the solution to it. And we, as the continent, we are the only continent in the planet that has abundance of the sun. And South Africa in particular is the only one in the entire world that has mostly positioned to harvest the sun more than anywhere else in the world. But what are we doing about that? Are we going to sit with that statistics and do nothing about it? No, not necessarily. In our past master classes, you will have noticed, if you went through those master classes before joining this one, if you are new, that is, you will notice that in all these master classes, we're talking and emphasizing one thing, that energy is the next currency. And if energy is the next currency, how do we build an economy using that currency? And through these masterclasses, we are here to learn of how, and not just how, but we are here to be part of the platforms that have already been built. You know, it's time to stop just talking. The time for talking is not anymore. It's time for us to start building. That's what the world is waiting for us to do. And unfortunately, the world is not going to come to us and ask for permission, you know, to engage. If we don't take the opportunity, we will never really have an opportunity to build. The world, we must be honest with ourselves and acknowledge that truth, that the world cares less about us as women. Why are we saying that? We are saying that because of the statistics. The stats say that it says it all. You know, just look only from 2003. If you look from 2003, sorry, I just want to mute. If you look from 2003 to 2023, that's now 20 years, you will see a huge decline from the world or from the global fund. The global fund for ventures or businesses, only 3% in 2003 went to women. It declined there by 2013 to 2.7%. And today we are sitting at 1.9%. So declining from 3% to 1.9%, that is staggering. You know, it's not acceptable. So what does that tell you and me, Queens? It tells us that the world does not have confidence in us as women. So if we don't take this position and this opportunity to stand up and change the status quo, we will never change anything. We will never have the opportunity to change anything. So right now we are radically and audaciously standing up on our feet and saying, we are going to do this. We are going to change the status quo and we are going to build. Whether we like it or not, we were born to build. We are builders by birth and by nature. Men are born to lead. Men are leaders by nature. So if we don't build, there is nothing for them to lead. And this explains why everything has been going the way it has in the past, because we have never been given this opportunity to build. And the world is not going to give us that opportunity. We just have to create it. And we have to be unapologetic about taking that opportunity. We have to be audacious about taking that step and saying we are going to build. So we are not just talking about us building an economy here, but we are talking about resources, because for any economy to be built, it needs at least two very important resources. It needs human resource, it needs capital resource. We have it all. Africa has the numbers, 1.4 billion. It has its own brothers and sisters in the diaspora, 350 million of them. That makes us 1.7 billion people. So we have the numbers, we have the human resource. And the capital resource, we have the capital resource. Never should we again say, Africa, we are poor. Never should we again say we do not have money. We are in poverty, we are not. If we were poor, there is no way we could give away over 14 billion rand in 6 months to a foreign company that came in our country to scam us in the name of QZ management. That tells us that Africa is rich. Africa is wealthy. We have the money. We have the capital resource. So never again do we say we are poor. Now, there's been over five crowdfunding companies here that came and say they want to help Africa out of the energy crisis. But what are they doing? They're coming in our country and saying that we crowdfunding. We take monies from our pocket. Some are saying you invest as little as $1. Others are saying you invest as little as 50 pounds, as 25 US dollars, and you put it in this kitty. What do they do with that money? They take that money and they go and get the solar panels from their countries, all the solar systems, and they come and install in our country using whose money? Our money. And are we still poor? After that, the solar systems need to be maintained. Who's going to maintain them? Us? No. So what are we doing again? We are exporting our financial resources like we have done in the past. We still keep exporting our financial resources to every company that comes here and promises us huge returns. But what do we get in return? We get kicked by being scammed all the time, and we don't learn. And now is the time when we're saying, let us build our own. Let us build our own resources. Not even resources, let us build with our own resources. And let us stop exporting our monies outside to the outside world. Let us stop exporting our numbers to the outside world. Because what we are doing now, we're not only taking and giving our money out, but we're giving ourselves out to the world. We are exporting our numbers to your Facebook, to your YouTube, to your Instagram, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. And we are giving those people power to use our resources, which is human resources, to build their own economy, making us poorer and poorer every single day. So now, this is the time where we are saying, let us gather ourselves as queens and start building. And we are not just building from an empty core. We have the foundations. The foundations are there, the platforms are there. And in our previous masterclasses, we also talked about the port of entries. Those who have been with this masterclass for the past 5 sessions, they will know. Ask them about what a port of entry is. They will tell you. And this is one of our main, very important, crucial element that we really need to address. Any economy, it can only be stronger if the port of entries are secured and stronger. Our port of entries, it can be by air, or water, or road, or physical boundaries, But now, what do we do? In those port of entries, they need to be protected, for us to make money as a country. Otherwise, if it is just in and out of people, of goods, and whatever it is, then we can't really build a strong economy. If we have very weak borders, if we have very weak customs, we can never build a strong economy. But unfortunately now, because of these revolutions that have been evolving all the time, what is happening is the physical borders are gradually declining, or they are gradually disappearing into the digital world. Because today, I can use my phone and buy something from Europe or from the US or from China, and that can be delivered to me digitally. That did not pass any physical border. Because right now we're talking of NFTs. We are talking of digital assets. We are talking of properties that are transformed into digital assets through the NFTs. Everything is changing. So which border does that go to? Digital borders, not physical borders. So now we need a system that will now start looking at controlling the digital borders, or the digital port of entries. Now, the only way to manage and control the digital port of entries, it is by building our own, controlling our own, so that we know that every digital transaction that happens between our country and others, it is controlled somewhere, and our country can actually reap from that. And through this energy economy class, we are learning about how we can circumvent that. China did it very well by closing a noise away from what the influences of the world. They chased out Facebook, WhatsApp, Google, YouTube. They chased it all. They chased it all away. And they started building their own port of entry, which is WeChat. So we need to follow on that track because it has been tested and proven. Now, for us to be able to control and build an economy, we need to have our own port of entries, digital port of entries. Because now when we're talking energy, we are talking about a connector to all industry sectors. No sector can function without energy. Energy is at the center of every sector. Without energy, everything is dead. Businesses are dead, everything. And we can see how miserable we become when we don't have power because everything comes to a standstill. And now, when the entire world is moving digitally, we also need to position ourselves in a way that we are able to use energy. So right now, we're talking about energy. We're talking about energy as our primary source, timeless resource. We're talking about energy as the greatest resource Africa has ever had, because nobody can take away the sun from Africa. They can take away our gold and everything else, yes, but not the sun. So nobody can change the climate of Africa. Nobody can change the capacity that Africa has in terms of the solar energy. Africa has 60% capacity to harvest the sun to harvest solar from the sun. 60%. We've only used 1% so far. So we still have 49%. 59% that still needs to be harvested from this continent. And we have about 650 million people who have never had electricity before, who needs to be powered up. So can we see how much work that still needs to be done? Can we see how privileged we are to have this resource? And now we can never cry and say we do not have the financial resources, because we all know that installing solar system in your home, it's capital intensive. You need to have money. I mean, for a very reasonable system, you would need about 5 kilowatt of a system. And that 5 kilowatt, how much would it cost you? About from 100,000 rand, 100,000 to 150,000. Who has that kind of money? Nobody. And that is why we are gathered here today and saying, okay, now we need to start acknowledging that we have the money, and we need to start acknowledging that we are exporting our money thus far to the world. And we need to start to realize that that needs to stop. We need to contain our financial resources. We have them. So in the past 2 masterclasses, we have been talking about the practicality of building this energy economy using our platforms that have already been developed. And the beautiful part is that the platforms that have been developed, they have been developed by our own queens, the queens of the soil of Africa. So now we are not sitting here and still trying to plan on how we are going to start building. These platforms have been built. The digital port of entry has been built, which is a social networking platform, because everything digitally happens through that social connectivity, interactivity with the outside world. So if that is controlled, then we are at a position where we can say we can start building our economy, because right now we want to prove to the world that we are indeed the mother of the world as it has originally been. And secondly, we want to prove to the world that the world will rise, or Africa will rise, because of its queens. So we need to stand up and really do just that. And we have 3, let me say 2 platforms that are very crucial in building our economy. We have let me just admit some people. We have our social networking platform called Roll It. It works just like Facebook, but a little differently from Facebook, because with Facebook, what you do is you hop into Facebook and do whatever you want to do. If you want to go to Instagram, you've got to leave Facebook and go to Instagram. If you want to go to YouTube, you leave all of that and you go to YouTube separately and differently. And what we have here is a 7-phase social networking platform where you do everything here. If you want to do your communication over like a Facebook kind of a setup environment, then you can stay in Roll It. But within Roll It, there is a main menu that takes you to our YouTube called Bioscope. And you can go to our Rocket, which is more like your the audio sharing platform like Spotify. We have our own Zoom, like we are doing right now, called Rolling Meet. We have been testing it for a couple of weeks now, and it is working quite fine. So what we are going to be doing is now, through the remainder of our masterclasses, we will be slowly transitioning to our very own virtual conferencing platform, because it is there ready for us to really take advantage of. So what I'm saying is that all these platforms are here and are ready for us to start using them. And we have been observing all these crowdfunding platforms that are coming and crowding our continent and crowding our countries, where now we find ourselves taking from our pocket, giving to them only to enable them to install their own solar systems in our own places. So again, it is the colonialization repeating itself, and we are sitting and doing nothing about it. And this is time where we say enough is enough. This is time where we're saying we need to unite and really start building, like we should. So there's a second platform that's also available, where now we will be having our own energy fund that will be financing our own projects. But it can only be sustainable if we all come together as women and start building that network. The energy fund is called Triber, and we have partnered for now with 2 financial institutions that have agreed to put funds in that energy fund. But there are requirements. There are requirements that we need to fulfill. Anybody who's going to give you anything like money or financial resource, they will want to see commitment from your side, right? If you go to the bank and borrow money, they will want to see commitment from your side. Any financial institutions, you will need to give them a sign of commitment. And that sign of commitment will be like a collateral. It will be a guarantee in whatever form they want it. So that is a sign of commitment. And even here, for us to start building whatever we need to build, we need to commit. We need to be committed to it. So what we are saying is that from these platforms that are available, we are extending these platforms to you, Queens, and saying, here are the platforms. Let's get together. Let's own these platforms together. Come and be a shareholder. So we don't just want you to come and maybe just put your money and be a bystander. No, we cannot build like that. We want you to come and be part of what has already been built, because we said an economy is made up of numbers, right? So now we need those numbers. We need to put those numbers together, because just, for example, just imagine this. If Utami is single-handedly building these platforms and running these platforms, of course, there's going to be sabotage, there's going to be some hand at play, and it's going to be easy to target Utami and just finish Utami off, and then what is left of the platforms? Nothing. But if we come together as an army of women, nothing will ever be able to destroy that unity. There is nothing the world fears the most like the unity of women. But we need to defy the odds of saying that women together, there's nothing that they can really do. This today, what we are building through this masterclass, is a fine example that when women get together, they can dent the universe. And we want to dent the universe right now. But for us to do that, we need to unite and work together. And instead of asking, for example, we might have people who are going to ask questions like, okay, now you're saying we must come together and invest in these platforms, but are these sustainable? What could ensure that these do not fail? because they have been created by a Black person and a Black woman for that matter. I think that kind of attitude, we need to change it into saying, what is it that I can do as a queen to make sure that these do not fail? We cannot ask a question where we're saying, what if this fails? That should be out of the equation. The question we should be asking ourselves is, what is it that I can do to ensure it does not fail? And that is what is needed from each and every one of us. We are running a campaign that will be ending in the second week of August. On the 31st of August, we are having an event, and in this event we are launching our energy fund, our tribal energy fund. And in this event we are recognizing or acknowledging our queens who would have been able to fulfill the requirements that will enable them to be in the top 50. So there will be a top 50 that will be chosen from what we are building right now. And the exercise of it all is we want to identify leaders who will be leading in the energy space. And remember, whatever it is that we build as women, we're not building it for ourselves or for our families, but we're building it for our countries and for our continent. So whatever energy, whatever economy that we are building it for our countries. We are building it for our continent. We want our continent to rise. So now that's why we really need to get together. So there are what you call incentives, right, for you to be part of these initiatives. We have incentives. One of them is the recognition awards that will be done on the 31st of August in Johannesburg, and where we will be recognizing those queens. And those queens won't just be recognized, but they will be leading in the entire African continent, because after the masterclass, then we will identify those queens whom will be sent out into Africa to do exactly the same thing that we are doing, because the aim is to grow the number or the army of women in the continent, where we can now work together and build. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So the first one is to build the network of women, make sure that we have just enough number so that we can carry this through. And the secondly is to build our financial resource, because even the financial partners that we currently have, they will not be giving us money forever. They will only be giving us the first initial financial injection. And from there, we have to make it sustainable ourselves. So we need to get together in terms of doing that and making it sustainable. And there are a few questions that you will be asking yourselves. Okay, we have these platforms, but for example, you're talking about an energy fund. Is it regulated, number one? Is it compliant? Is it safe to really run with? Those are the things that we really need to look into and work together with as this army of women. But what I can safely say right now is the Energy Fund is in the process of being accredited by the FSP with the FSP license. So that is already in place. And it's just a matter of fast-tracking it, or it is just a matter of getting more support maybe from our government to fast-track that process, but it is already in the process. And it needs now you and me as the queens to see what is it that can be done, to fast-track that process. The registration, yes, it is legally registered in our country. You can check it from the CIPC, you will see TRIBA there. So we want to make sure that we comply with every regulation in our country. We want to make sure that we run our business within the regulations, that are set up for opportunities or initiatives like that. And yes, so whatever else that has not been done, it is going to be put on this table for all of us queens to really make sure that everything that we are doing it according to compliance and any kind of compliance that we need to comply with. And also our social network platforms, they have an element of a digital wallet where you can send money, between you as friends in the social network. So our social networking platform, it offers so much. It is very much inclusive. It has that inclusive growth element. So if you can navigate, get into Roll It, navigate through, and you will see it has a rich, element. And in the next few weeks, we will be adding yet another feature which no social network media has in the entire world. We will be the first to offer that. And once we offer that, we will be offering an opportunity where you don't just come to our social media platform just to have a conversation, but you come to earn. So you will get into our platform, you will earn by just posting your comments, by sharing your friends' comments. You will earn by everything you are doing on our social network, you earn. We will be introducing something that I would not want to disclose today, probably in the next masterclass. So what I would like to do basically is, in the next masterclass, please make sure that you invite your friends, because it's going to be the epitome of what we have been covering in the past sessions. In the next masterclass, we will be covering exactly where this energy is going to be positioned as we build our economy. And then again, we will be pioneering something that the world has not done. We will be the first to pioneer that. So what we call ourselves is, we create the path. Queens, we don't follow anybody, we lead. And that is what we should be doing. So the aim of this masterclass is to prepare us to be leaders in our game, in our energy space. When we are told that we are the majority shareholder in the world in terms of energy capacity, it needs to show. We need to make sure that it shows. And we are the only ones as queens who will be able to do that. So that's why I'm saying we must not be apologetic about us standing up for our own responsibility that we need to do. We must be audacious in standing up for ourselves and saying we can do it. And as long as we have support from one another, as long as we really get ourselves into this and make sure that we are doing it right. So two things we really need to think as we go along. We need to build our networks. We need the numbers, and we need the capital resource. So when we say that go and invite other queens, I want to demystify what the other queens have been looking into this. We are not recruiting queens. We don't recruit here in our spaces. We build. So when you invite other queens to be part of this, you are inviting them to come and be owners of the platforms. Because the first 500 queens that we will have, they will own the platforms, they will be shareholders, they will have dividends. And I understand that most of us have never really been exposed to that kind of an environment before, where you are called a shareholder, where you have dividends. And we probably might not even understand what a dividend is. And before I can even explain what a dividend is, I want to give you a vision of where we are right now. We have this social network platform, which is called Roll It. Roll It is a 100% subsidiary of Mandroli. And this is where all this energy thing is coming from. It is coming from Mandroli. Mandroli started back in 2018, but the research had been going on for the past 9 years before it was established in 2018. So Mandroli is an electric vehicle company that will be manufacturing electric vehicles in Africa. Now, there's one thing you need to understand, my queens, is in Africa, we as Mandroli will be the first woman-owned electric vehicle company. And two, we will be the first to own the entire value chain in any automotive sector, because we have automobiles in Africa, right? In Nigeria, we have, in Ghana, we have, in Zimbabwe, we have. But the only difference is that they don't own the design. They don't own the entire value chain. What they do is they white label something that's already there. They go and take from China and just change the name of the car. And as a result, you will find that the same car that you would see in Nigeria, you will see it in about 5 other different countries. The same model, same make, but different name. So we don't do that. We own our IP, an entire IP. We own our designs. We own everything, our technology. So that is what makes us unique. Queens, this is a proof that we as Queens are real builders. So we need now to start together, because all of these are there. And it's not only for me to benefit from, it's for all of us. They were built with all of you in mind. They were built with all the Queens to come and benefit from them, because as builders that we are, we need to get together and make sure that we protect the legacy of our generations, for our children, because we need to really break the chain where we stand, where now every generation has to start all over again, all over again, all over again. We cannot let that happen perpetually. It is time that we as Queens start building for our generations to come. We cannot build in this generation and our next generation have to start all over and build again. No, that time is gone. So we need to make sure that whatever it is that we are building today together, it's going to be sustainable and it's going to be there for generations to come. So the Roll It platform comes from Mandroli, the electric vehicle company. And we know that without the automotive sector or without the transportation sector, again, there's no economy. Because when there's no transport, how are goods going to move from one place to the other? They can't. How do we move from one place to the other to go to work and do business? We can't if there's no transportation. So again, we have secured a space for us as Queens where we're saying we want to be in the space. We are here. So the Mandroli the Mandroli electric vehicle company is there for you, Queens. And it has this subsidiary, which is the Roll It platform. And the communication, again, just like energy and automotive sector, is the connector to all the industry. Without communication, there's no business, there's no economy. We cannot build an economy without communication, right? We need to interact, we need to connect, we need to intertrade, and that can be done digitally. That's why we need to build and protect our digital borders, which are our social media platforms. And we have that, Queens. We own that. We own that. I hope you understand me well when I say we own that space. We are not going to go and beg for inclusion from anywhere else. We own that space, and we need to be proudly into that space and building it together. And now Mandroli has this Roll It. And now that's why I'm excited about next week, because next week is taking us yet to another stage, which is where the entire world is going. The entire world is going digital, right? We have seen that. You go to the bank, you want a bank statement, they will say, no, go and do it on your phone. They no longer do it in the branch. You go to the city of Cape Town, you want to be included in the database, they will send you home. They say, no, do it online. If we don't see it, we will never see it. The revolution has started, and it's not begging you. It is not begging me. It is not begging any of us. You just have to jump in, because if you don't jump in now, you will play a catch-up game later, and it will be too late for you. So I always say to my Queens that if you're on board on a moving train, you are already too late. Create a path where everybody will lead. Be in the front. Let's push, let's elbow our way right into the front of the queue. We don't have time to be asking for permission from anybody. We are enough, Queens. We can do it. And so now this is where I'm coming at. If you come and be part of this revolution that is being created by the energy crisis, then it means that you are coming and saying, I want to be part of these platforms that have already been built. And by being part of this, you become a shareholder and you will get dividends. Now, this is what we have already. So when you come and upgrade on our bioscope, our Bioscope, let me tell you one thing, our Bioscope is not just a video sharing platform like YouTube, right? You can monetize your content right there. And when you are on our Bioscope, we have the movie side, which works exactly like Netflix. So we have our own Netflix that we can grow, that will tell African stories as they are, because we cannot depend on another platform outside this continent to be able to tell our stories as they are. They won't. You go and look at Netflix movies. Most of them that you will find that depicts the African stories, they're talking of violence. They're talking of like bad language, things that are not teaching our children anything, but are depicting Africa as this violent nation. We cannot afford to keep receiving that and making it okay. It is not okay. We need our own platforms that will tell our story the way it is, that will portray our culture to the world the way it is. And that is why we need to own these spaces, have control over them, and own those port of entries, because now people are going to use their own port of entries and enforce their way of doing things into our children. Today, we have a challenge of our children who are being influenced by social media, and we have no control over that. Now, the time is here when we say we will build what we want to influence our children through our own port of entries, which we have. And I really am going to beg you, Queens, to really make sure that you visit our Roll It platform, navigate through it and see how it works. You will see that it is really a great asset that we will have. So in the next few weeks, you will be going to Roll It to make money that you can withdraw at the end of the day and go and transact with it in our marketplace. We have a marketplace called Rolly City. We will be introducing it in the next few weeks as well. We have our own currency, our own cryptocurrency, which is called Rollybucks, which will be backed by energy. We have our own projects that are awaiting funding. We have a 2.4 billion worth of a project, which is a data center and a solar farm. And if you come in the space and say you want to be part of this and you want to be a shareholder, you are a shareholder in all of these things. Now we're talking about dividends. At the end of each quarter or at the end of each year, you will be part of a shareholders meeting where you can cast your vote and have a say in how you want the economy to move. Because if you are part of these initiatives and projects, which means you are part of something that you are not just a bystander and watching, but you have a say in terms of how and where what shape you want these to take. So we are taking all of these opportunities to you and saying you can be part of it, but the only thing we need to believe that we can do it. And we need to be there for one another, where we are saying where this is lacking, because what is being delivered to you is not perfect, right? It's there, which is what is important. It's been built, and it took years for it to be built, and it took a lot of monies for these platforms to be built, but they're here now. How do we own up to them? So if you upgrade on your Bioscope account, then you will have access to the shares. And not just shares, you will be a shareholder of WIP Invest, which is Women in Power Invest. WIP Invest is a holding company, and WIPFin is a 100% subsidiary of WIP Invest. So WIPFin is a fintech company which owns this banking platform that will be managing the Energy Tribe Fund. So can you imagine the vast work that has already been done here? And you are just being invited to come and say, just upgrade. When you upgrade on this platform, you are helping in building it up, because we still need to upgrade. So what makes me excited about next week is that we will be talking about energy in the metaverse space. And most of us have heard about the metaverse, right? But maybe we do not understand what it is. Now, next week, you will know exactly how we are going to build our economy in the second economy. because right now the energy is creating yet another economy, which we call it a second economy or a digital economy. And in that space, we need to have the infrastructure that will house energy. Can you imagine where you have the power plants, and you can see it in this virtual world? You see the physical power plants in a virtual world, and you can see how power is generated, how power is transmitted, how power is distributed. You can see how power is used. Can you see how powerful that is? Where else have you ever heard that in the world? Nowhere. We will be the first to pioneer that. So can you see how audacious we are? Unapologetically so, because we are queens, we are builders. And for us to be able to do all of this, we need you. We need you to be part of us. And now in our recognition awards event in August 31st, we want to see you there. We want to see you where we're saying this is one of the queens who has assisted and helped in building this, who said, I am here, send me. I want to build this army of women. So we need 500 women who will be helping us build these networks. That's all we are extending an invitation to you for. We need, yes, here is our queen here, Queen Sosi, saying women power. We need that women power, so this is the reason why we're having these masterclasses. And today I decided not to share slides. Normally I would do the introduction and share slides. So I've decided not to share the slides because I have noticed that we have some of our queens who are still doubting this process, who are still doubting these initiatives. And I want to demystify that doubt. I want to clarify that doubt, where we are saying, if you have any doubt, come be part of what we're doing. Don't stand in the alleyway and expect that whatever it is you don't understand is going to work itself out. Of course, we are all skeptical about something new. But now this is something that we are all building. So for example, you cannot come to me, my queen, and tell me that, Queen Tami, what you are bringing to us, what if it fails? You cannot come and ask me that. Come to me and ask me, what is it that we can do so that this does not fail? Those are the queens that we are looking for, where we are going to sit around the table. As I said now, when I was greeting you, my queens, I said, welcome to the dinner. Welcome to the dinner at the Queen's house. This is a Queen's house. It's a house of queens, you included. You are part of this house. So now as we're sitting on this table, we are not cooking right now. We are eating from the dinner that has already been served. So now if the dinner is served, we need to really see what part of this food can we take and be part of, so I am really inviting you once again, see this opportunity as it is. This is the biggest opportunity you would ever be part of in the entire globe. Never again will you be part of an opportunity where you are a shareholder in an electric vehicle building company, where you are a part of a company that is pioneering the energy space in the metaverse. It has not been done before. We will be the first to pioneer it. Why are we the first to pioneer it? Because we didn't hear about the metaverse only because Mark Zuckerberg told us about the metaverse. Back in 2012, I crafted a concept on the metaverse. I shared it with the MTN executive team. I shared it with the journalist at the time, a friend of mine called Ulunga. That was 20 years ago. And in 2022, no, that was 10 years ago. In 2022, Mark Zuckerberg is publicizing the metaverse. So we are now a step ahead because it's something that we have been doing a research on for the past 10 years. So we know exactly what we need to do. We know exactly what is needed. So that's why we have jumped on this opportunity of an energy crisis, because we know it fits right there. It fits right in that puzzle where we are able to use our energy in that space because we have seen it 10 years ago that this world is going to go digital before it got digital. So here we are working with futuristic minds. We need for you to really elbow your way right to the front of the queue. You need to be futuristic. You need to be a visionary. And how fortunate it is that amongst us, we have such visionaries. We have such futuristic minds. Let us use that opportunity to work with those minds and build and pioneer and, lead the way for the world. We are the mother of the world. That is not going to change. And it is time we take back those reins as the queens, right? It is time to take back the reins and rise our continent. Nobody else is going to do it but us queens. Nobody. So us sitting back and doing nothing is not going to help us. It has to be done. We need to soldier on and get on with it. Get up. So the opportunity is there. We are on the race right now to the 31st of August. Right now we are sitting, we need 500 queens to be part of this by the 31st of August. And right now we are only sitting at 90. 90, we are halfway through our masterclass sessions. We're supposed to be having 12. We are on the 6th today. We are left with 6 masterclasses, which is 6 weeks. 6 weeks is nothing for us to still be sitting at 90. We need 500 queens. So when we say we need 500, which means we need to go out there and talk to the fellow queens and invite them in. We don't recruit. Please don't go and recruit. We don't do that here. We invite queens to be part of the 500. And this 500 is going to build this army of queens that will build this economy. We have a work ahead of us that we need to do. We don't have time. And this is our time. Energy is our resource. What else do we need? And there is no one who is going to build these networks except us, because men don't build. They were never born to do that. Men need to lead. They can only support us as we build, as we will support them as they lead. We need to really know what our responsibility is and do just that. So my invitation to you is, please do not doubt this process. We doubted the Bitcoin when it came. And I remember when it came, it was only 1 rand a Bitcoin. Today, it is sitting at over 300,000, 1 Bitcoin, 300,000 from 1 rand. We doubted the process. I could have invested in those Bitcoins. I didn't. I was given some of them for free. I didn't take them because to me, it was a scam, the biggest scam I've ever had. But today, we've got Pick and Pay taking Bitcoin as a form of payment in their 29 outlets. We've got businesses in our own country taking Bitcoin as a form of payment, something that came to us like it was a scam when it arrived. So everything new, we will label it as a scam, yes, because we don't understand it. But I think we should move away from that mindset. We should realign our way of seeing things, our way of looking at things. We need to grab the opportunities as they come, because opportunities never last. Seasons change, right? Just like opportunities, they change, they do not last. So if you don't grab it now, you don't want your children to be asking you tomorrow, but Mama, you had this opportunity, what did you do with it? Nothing. We want a limited number of queens. Please be part of those queens, right? Be part of those queens. Those who have upgraded on our platform, on our Bioscope platform, they should have received the emails by now. They are being given the investment vouchers. And unfortunately or sadly, we haven't really had time to really sit down with them and show them how to redeem their vouchers. And I think I am really done with my introduction, if we call this an introduction, but I really wanted to let you in so that even if you were beginning to doubt, please do not, because right now we are getting a huge support from everywhere. And there is no way we would be getting such kind of support if what we're doing was not it. It is the opportunity that every woman, every queen would want to be part of. We are writing history through this masterclass. This is the first ever of its kind. We are writing history. It's the first masterclass that comes with deliverables like this, that comes with platforms that are already built, ready to move, ready to fly. We are ready to fly. For example, our Role Limit platform, which is more like our Zoom that we're using today, it can be used in schools. It can be used in judicial sectors because it has a translation feature where you can translate. You talk as I'm talking to you now. You are able to get this information in your own language. I talk in Xhosa, and a person in Chinese received what I'm saying to him in China, or in Chinese, rather. That's how far we are with our platforms. And now for a person to ask, what if it fails? It's built. If it fails, we will have failed us as queens. No single person is going to fail this entire thing, but all of us. If it does not take off, then we have all of us to blame. Everyone who have had ears to hear about this opportunity and didn't do anything about it, we will have to blame. And we don't want to be blaming ourselves when these opportunities are put on our lap like that. No, we can't afford that. And it's time to really take it seriously, the work of building. So this has been my invitation to you. I really wanted to extend this invitation when I say, this is it. You will never get any other opportunity like this ever. Especially that the energy is our last resource. Energy is our last resource. We will never have any other resource that we will use to rise our continent. Our gold, our diamond, our silver, it's gone. It's gone, and we're not going to fight that back. So as this army of women, we're not fighting back what was stolen. We are building back what was taken. We don't have time to fight. The only battle we have time for is to build and rise this continent. So the rise of this continent is on our shoulders. I want you to always remember that. Whatever decision you take, please remember that the rise of this continent is in your shoulder, yours and mine. All right, so let's not fail this process. Let's do whatever it is that we can do to really rise, because we have a tangible opportunity right here, the energy. We have the platforms, we have the projects that are in place, because the project that I'm talking about now, the data center and the solar farm, it's going to also be the first in Africa, a solar powered data center. Remember, if we have our port of entries, our digital port of entries that needs to be managed and controlled by us, we cannot do it without a data center. We need to have our own data center so that we manage our own data. And if we are introducing our own currencies, we need to manage those currencies ourselves. We need platforms that will manage and control that. It's about control, queens. It's about building and control. Let's build and control. And that's where we are going to build our economy and retain it for generations and generations to come. This is not just about energy, right? Energy is just at the center. Energy is just the enabler for us to build our entire ecosystems and economy. So let's use it. Let's use this enabler to open doors to other sectors, to open doors to our automotive sector, to open doors to our social media, network. There's so much that's going to be coming. So you don't want to regret not really taking this opportunity seriously. Let me end right here. And thank you so much, my queens, for really making time to be here and leaving whatever it is that we could have done with this time and wanted to be here. So for those who have, everyone who has, what's this now? Upgraded on Bioscope, please, after everything has been done, can you please remain behind, because I want to take you through on how you redeem your investment vouchers. It's very easy. If you have already registered on Triber, I want to show you on how you can go. As I said, that Whipfin is the one that manages the energy platform. So when you go and invest, you just go to investment plans and you choose Whipfin as a payment master, and you upload your investment voucher. But we will do it because we don't want to maybe take time for the queens that are here for the first time who will not understand the process. So now what I will do is I will give over to Queen Wonks to take over with the question and answers for anybody and everyone who might have having questions. And my part is done for the day. And I want to thank you once more time for really being here, for joining us here and having this dinner with us at the Queen's House. And if you're here for the first time, welcome, and we hope to see you next time, and we hope to build this with you. And we are looking forward to, having you and maybe inviting more people. But please, next week, do not forget to invite people. Invite your friends. It's going to be a very exciting week. You don't want to miss out. Thank you so much. And over to you, Queen Wonks. You are unmuted. And you can go ahead.
Wow. Good evening, Queens. Thank you so much, our Chief Queen Tammy, with a very, very powerful presentation again, as always. And yes, indeed, we need to be writing history. We need to be trendsetters and not trend followers. We are the mother of the world. And before I can even start with the questions, I would like to acknowledge and welcome our Honorable
Queen Wonks, you went dead silent. I'm not sure what happened right there.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Queen Wonks, you went dead silent. Can you maybe just go over?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, I was welcoming Dr. Mama Queen Angie Ramaipadi, who is the president of the organization called Women Helping Women, who is amongst us here. I saw the name when I was checking the list, and her deputy, Queen Voye. You are welcome in the table of the queens. And so let's shoot to the questions. The very first question, Chief Queen Tammy, that I was reading on the comments. I'll start in the comments. There was a question earlier from Tabi, Queen Tabi Zikalala. The question is, who do you contact if you want to put your hands on the deck apart from bringing queens on board? That was Queen Tabi Zikalala. Over to you, my Chief Queen.
Okay, if I heard the question correctly, it says, who do you contact if you want to put your hands on the deck?
Yes.
For this, contact the person who invited you. The person will give you direction in terms of where to go and what needs to be done.
Thank you so much, my queen. I'm starting with the questions on the chat box, and we have another questions for that from Lee, Queen Lee. She has 3 questions on the chat box. The first one is, how do we upgrade and what is the process? The second one will just answer all of them same time. What are the requirements, criteria to become part of the top 50? And the third one, who will be awarded on the 31st of August?
Okay. All right. Let me try and respond to that. how do you upgrade? You register on our social media platform called Roll It. And after registering on Roll It, you go to your main menu on Roll It and you will find Bioscope. You go to Bioscope and you just log in there using your Roll It credentials, and you will find on the menu a button that says Go Pro. You go to GoPro and then you follow the instructions from there. When you're done, which means you will have upgraded, the system will acknowledge and you will be in. Now, what is needed to be part of the top 50? In the previous masterclasses, it is explained in detail, but for you to be part of the top 50, one, you need to upgrade. And two, you need to build a network that will be part of what we are looking for. Remember, we have an energy platform called Triba, and our financial partners need a commitment from us. And that commitment comes in numbers, because they're not going to put their money in our platform when there's no movement. So we need to build a minimum of numbers to have the funds in our fund platform. So you need to build as part of the top 50. There's a requirement on how you build and how many you need to be in your network. And now the ones for the 31st of August, they will be chosen from the top 50 who will be now making the top 20 that will go. Remember, our event is going to be in Johannesburg on the 31st, so but not all the top 50 will go. We will choose the best because we are looking for the best leaders here. And to qualify, you need to be able to act with speed. You need to be initiative, and you also need to at least you introduce or you invite 5 queens. That's one of the basic requirements to be in the top 50. Just invite 5 queens and make sure that those 5 queens build the network by inviting more. Remember, when we invite the queens, we invite them to become here and be part of the shareholders. We are looking for shareholders, queens. We need people who are going to be shareholders, and we build this together. We don't just, invite people. And also, for you to upgrade, you need to upgrade with 1,500 Rand. It's a once-off upgrading fee that will qualify you to be in the top 50. So you upgrade with 1,500 and you invite 5 queens to come and join the network. Yeah. And then you do the same, with the rest of the queens throughout your entire network. I hope I've answered you satisfactorily. Queen Monks, are you still with us? Okay, I'm not sure what happened right there. If there are other questions, maybe we can have the questions. We can have the questions by a show of hands while I'm still trying to locate Queen Monks. I'm trying to see if we have any hands. Queen Monks, I think you are unmuted.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, I was muted. Thank you so much, Queen T. I was gonna ask the ladies, the queens, to raise their hand if they have a question, so that I can be able to identify them. Do we have any? Queens, she can't be that good that there are no questions. I know she's a master. I know she's mastering these presentations, but there should be questions. I'm looking and I'm checking for hands. Okay, we have Queen Cindy Swagomba. Queen T, could you please unmute Queen Cindy Swa?
Okay.
She has a question.
I have.
Thank you. Queen Cindy Swa, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you very much, evening queens. You know, we should not actually treat it as if we are worried that we don't have questions. Let us be sure that today's presentation has been succinct and it has been the presentation that has been done to clarify issues. So basically, I would want to say hooray to a presentation today, though it didn't have slides, but it was a gliding presentation, a clarifying presentation. And some of us were panicking because this load shedding is having us by throats. We're going to miss this next session that we meet. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my Queen Sindiswa. Quinty?
No, I just wanted to say something to Queen Cindy. I'm glad you've raised that you were panicking. I know most of the queens have been panicking because of the deadline that we had. And that's why I wanted every queen to be addressed, that you are still part of that promotion before it ended, because I know that some of you were really delayed by load shedding and all of that. So you are in, and actually it is an honor to have you. I didn't see your name that you were part of the participants, and I really want to say thank you for attending today's masterclass. It is an honor to have you here. Thank you so much. Okay, over to you, Queen Moss.
Thank you, Queen T. We have another question from Queen Victoria Muloyi. Could you please unmute her?
Okay, unmuted.
All right,
Victoria, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, Queens. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
I can hear you.
Lovely. This is Queen Victoria, and thank you so much. I basically just wanted to say I had a long list of questions, and our great Queen has responded to all of them. That is how good she is. So I'm really, really excited about this. I've been sending messages in the chat that, you know, I'm jumping up and down like a child. I'm so excited about this opportunity. And I think one of the questions you did respond to it, but I just want more clarity on it. You know, as you have said that this is not only Queen Tami, this is all of us. We are here to make it a success. So what I wanted to know is currently what are structures in place as far as the management, administration, and the running of all of this? As you've said, we are sitting on a table. This is a buffet of all of these products that you have made available to us. And we're coming in just with our plates and we are choosing which one we're going to put on our plate. But I'd like to know who are the people that are currently running with the process. I know we are still building. I know we are still building, and to ensure that there's proper structures. But right now, what structures are there, Queen Tami? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. You know, I love it when you ask these intriguing questions, because it actually says that you are invested here, your hearts, and you have a vision really to grow this further. We do have structures in place. Now, I'm not sure if you want the names of people who are involved in this. And remember, this has been started by myself, and I've been driving it mostly alone. And I've had queens before who have joined and left. So right now we are starting a new chapter where now I'm saying, when I say I want to build this with the queens, I mean building everything, including the structures. So we are starting to build structures now with some of the queens that have been identified from the masterclass. And if you also want to be part of that, you know, let's see how you perform, and let's see if you can be part of it. But we do have accountants, you know, if you're talking about, you know, the governance structures and all of that. We do have accountants that we work with. We do have legal team that we work with that are making sure that we comply. with the regulations. For example, I talked about the FSP license that is being taken care of by our accountants that are making sure that it is driven and we are getting the FSP license. So in terms of the management structures, anyone who really is interested and has the capacity. For example, if you're an accountant in the house, you are welcome to come forward and we can sit and talk on how you can engage. If you're a lawyer in the house, you are welcome to come and we can engage. We are open to those kind of collaborations and conversations. Over to you, Queen Wongs. I hope I've answered you. Queen Wongs, where are you? Okay, while I'm waiting for you to come, I don't know where you disappeared to. We have Queen Busi. Queen Wongs, you want to be unmuted?
Thank you. It keeps on muting me. Thank you so much, Queen P. Yes, it keeps on muting me, but again, I'm here again. Thank you so much. Let's check the other question. You were talking about Queen Busine. Queen Busi Pinar has a question. Let's unmute her. Please, Chief Queen Busi, the floor is yours. You're unmuted.
Good evening, Queen T and all the queens. Queen T, I just have a quick question. I upgraded sometime last week, but then I have not received an email with the voucher and everything. So I just wanted to find out, have you forgotten about me or something?
You see, this is the panic. This is the panic we were talking about. Thank you, Queen Busi. I really appreciate your question. You have not been forgotten. Emails have been sent to all the queens who have upgraded. So if you haven't received yours, then we will have to check it and make sure that you receive your email with the attached voucher. So that should be done before the end of this week. As we said, that we want to help all the queens who have upgraded who still have to redeem their investment vouchers. We will help you redeem them from the platform and you can start, using them. So you have not been forgotten. I just need to make sure that I follow up on the emails that have not reached the queens. So don't panic. Everything should be sorted by the end of this week.
Thank you, Quinty. I hope our queen has been answered. We have our princess queen, Amkele Nkambule. She has a question. Could you please unmute her? Amke, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alice Longi. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, queens. I just have, it's more of I don't know. Okay. It's more, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm panicking. So I'm just like on the fact that we are on week 6, right? And we actually need like more queens. And I feel like maybe the strategy to get the queens was, I don't know if you can develop a strategy at this point, maybe come together as the queens, put some things on the table and say, okay, this is what we can do. Because at the end of the day, I feel like we all know people think this is a scam, and some people, it wasn't part of the requirements to know the solar energy space to actually be one, to be part of this institution of, if I can call it that. But now the thing is, what I've seen, and as inexperienced as I am, because I'm still very inexperienced, but I did talk to some of the women, I would like to say, my peers, about this opportunity. But it also goes, the conversation only goes to a point where the person they do understand, those who are in the faculty do understand, okay, this is a great opportunity, but also there's still that thing of, okay, but you want me to pay, but then is the license there? And then there's all these questions. And now I'm glad, like it makes me happy to hear that, to hear Queenstown saying that the license is being finalized and everything. But then wouldn't it have been a better time, good timing for us to start the master classes when everything was in place? Or now what's done is done, or we come together as the queens and say, okay, let's develop a strategy where we can get more queens to actually be informed and get a better understanding of what this whole thing, because now is we know what it's about because we've been attending the master classes, but the people that we are trying to approach don't really know, and sometimes we let the, we're not like Queen Tammy and Ausboni, like we do not have all the information, and we lack that information of, like, we have this burning desire inside of us. I'm like, this is a great opportunity, but I cannot put it in words. I can now, but I mean, I think we really need a strategy to just say, okay, all of us, this is how we're gonna get more queens. This is what we can do. Put our heads together, and yeah, I don't know. It's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Queen Amge. And I do appreciate your rather an input more than it is a question. If you've been in our masterclasses for some time now, you would know that there are provincial groups, right, that are in place. The reason for those provincial groups, because when you are all in a big group, it becomes difficult to get to those kind of strategies. So the work of the provincial groups is to now dissect the information even further to make people understand exactly what is needed and where we are to move forward. What is it that you need to do? So the information is communicated to the team leaders, and the team leaders go and share that information with the members of the groups. And from next week, we are also starting something where we are doing physical meetups. So we are talking with the team leaders where there will be physical meetups where you meet physically for tea, and you go through all the information and whatever it is that is needed, and you can now brainstorm in terms of what works for you as a group. There is nothing that is cast on stone here. Do what works for you, as long as you relay the message to the next person that you're inviting as it is. So talk to your team leader and find out when is the next physical meetup, and then you can invite your friends, your networks to go and join in. And there are marketing material that will be distributed as well to groups that you can use to talk to people and answer some questions. And also on Roll It, there is a group that has been created there with all the frequently asked questions. So please visit that, because you might find that what you have question on is being answered or has been answered there. And it gets updated every now and then. So please also check that in and see if the other questions that we have are not covered in there. And also, talk to your team leader and see when are the next physical meetups, so you can invite your network, sit there and have all the information uncovered and dissected to you. So in terms of strategies, we do have strategies that is shared in the groups every now and then. But if you want to come up with a strategy that works for you and your networks, you're really free, as long as it does not divert from the main message that needs to go to the people. And like next week, we're starting a campaign, right? And we will be sharing the material, the marketing material that you can use for the campaign. We are going to have a 30-day challenge because we basically left with 30 days before the end of the masterclass. So now we will be running a campaign that will also help you, relay the message to people, and also in a way that doesn't leave you helpless in terms of explaining what exactly it is that we're doing.
All right. Thank you so much, Queen Tammy.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, Queen Amge. Thank you, our Chief Queen Tammy, for the answer. We have Queen Tsidi Mpagi. Could we please unmute her?
Unmuted.
Thank you. Queen Tsidi, the floor is yours. Let's hear your question.
Yes. Good evening. My question is, if I have a queen who's not in Africa, let's say in America, want to be part of this beautiful project, is she allowed to be part of it?
Thank you so much, Quintity, for your question. Yes, certainly. We are a global movement. We are not only here in Africa. We deal with Africa and the diaspora, and anybody in the diaspora can be part of this movement. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, Queen Tsidi. Queen Busi, your hand is up. Could you please unmute Queen Busim Kajwa?
Done.
Thank you. Queen Busi, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Queens. Good evening to every queen. I have a question that if you are trying to register on Rollit and you are encountering challenges, who else can be contacted who has more knowledge on the system? Because we've been struggling. Yesterday, I wanted to register and the system has been giving us problems. So we ended up not knowing exactly what to do because I couldn't register. So I just wanted to know who has more knowledge on the system that can be contacted at any given time when one is encountering challenges on the system. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have just worked on the platforms in terms of upgrading and updating because people were having problems. Right now, I'm not sure if you're aware that you don't even need to register on Rollit. What you can do is you just go, there is an icon there that says social login. So you click on social login and it'll give you two options, whether you can log in via Google or you can log in via Facebook. So if you have a Facebook account or a Gmail account, then you can just log in using that without going through the registration process and it'll let you in instantly. I'm not sure if you did try that way of registering. And same as Bioscope, you don't have to register from scratch. You just access Bioscope from Rollit and then you log in using your Rollit credentials. So now that makes the process easier because you don't, some members were complaining that they can't get the verification email. So now when you register using that path, then it doesn't even require that you receive a verification email because we use the information that you've already provided to Google or to Facebook and we verify instantly. So, and then your question is, if now one is experiencing problems even after doing all of that, I think now you are coming up with a suggestion basically where we need to put an email address or a contact details on the registration page should you encounter problems. So I guess we will have to work on that, but you can send an email to info@rollit.com if you encounter any problem, and then we will attend to your query.
Thank you, Queen. we did try to do that. In fact, I did try to register using the social media login where I have chosen Google, and it will indicate the on that corner. It will indicate my Google information, but when I click on that, it takes me to the login details where it will want me to put the username and the password, something that when we were thinking it means I should have registered first on Rollit so that I can put in the username, the password. So that is where the challenge was.
And when you go straight to register without using Facebook and stuff?
It doesn't allow that. It always gives a error message that says the email has already been used. And that's the email that I am logging in on Google, that I'm using on Google, because it will show that I am Busi, and underneath that on the Google, it will indicate my name. I mean the email address, my email address. But when I click to say, use this on Rollit, then it will take me back to where there is a screen for username and password.
Okay. I think let's look into your problem. And if you can maybe share your number here so that we can contact you. I'm sure if it says the email address is already in use, maybe someone has registered, or I don't know, somehow, it means that our system already has your email address as a registered member. So we will have to look into that, but you will definitely be assisted. So just drop in your contact and we will follow that up.
Thank you, Queen.
Okay, you most welcome.
Thank you so much, my Queen, for your question. Chief Quinty, we have a question on the chat box from Queen NM. It's only the initials here. And the question is there an introductory pack or link that one can share when inviting other queens?
Okay, thank you, Queen, for that. We do have videos, the explainer videos that you can use. And we are working on the package, like the entire package that you can use when you want to present this to the other queens. We have a team that is working on that, and the deadline was at least by Friday the pack should be ready, because it's the same pack that we're going to be used for the campaign. So just, if you're already in a group, on WhatsApp, you should be getting everything by Friday, this Friday, getting ready for the campaign. So by the time we start the campaign, everything should be in place. But for now, we have, if you can just go check on the videos on Bioscope, and you can check under Rollit, you will find different types of videos that does explain a little, on what is done. And also the masterclasses, the previous masterclasses, especially the first one, will give you a very clear information, on the information that you can use to talk to your queens.
Thank you, Chief Quinty. I would like to ask Queen Lee to also leave your numbers on the chat box, because you want to be taken step by step on how to register, because this is your very first masterclass attending. All right, we don't have any other questions, Quinty.
And we also have sorry, my queen. We have about 8 minutes before the session ends. So if we can kind of try and wrap up. I see there's a hand there, Queen Mabongi.
Oh, yes, Queen Mabongi. I was still checking the chat box.
Okay.
Let's unmute her.
All right.
Good evening, my queens.
Good evening, Queen.
Yeah, there's nothing much to ask. It's just that last week, not like since now everything has changed. Remember that when we started we started the campaign, it was like top 20 where we are looking for. We had to invite 20 ladies. Now that everything has changed from 20 to 5, if a person has already managed to invite more than 5, how do we treat that one? Or do I have to pass it on to my other prospects? Or I don't know what to say. That's the question. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually a very important question. Remember that even from the top 50, we still need to choose the best 20, right? And the criteria to that is the more the bigger your network, the more chances that you'll be chosen to be in the top 20. So don't worry if you have exceeded the 5. That is a requirement. The 5 is just the basic minimum requirement. Nothing stops you from going beyond that. But if you feel that you have access of the queens that you've invited, you can help them by building your network. For example, now if you have 5, your 5 needs to go and invite other queens. So you can just help them build their networks by putting those queens in their networks, because at the end of the day, it's your team, it's your network that you are building. It doesn't matter where you place them. So I think you can maybe use your own discretion on how you can position, your team. So, but the more, the merrier, because the more you invite, the more it gives you a chance to be really amongst the top 20 that will be identified.
Okay, thank you, my queen.
Okay.
Thank you, Quinty, for that answer. And we have another hand from Queen Nomfundo Mlife. After Queen Nomfundo Mlife, then we'll have to hand over to my Queen Sibu for wrapping up. Let's unmute. Nomfundo, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening to all the queens. Mine is just to express appreciation to Queen Tammy, first and foremost, for your resilience. It's never easy to start something in the midst of all that is happening around us. And I'm glad that you are showing that resilience by shutting your ears to what you don't want to hear and pursuing what you know all of us are going to benefit from. There is nothing like this experience where we are building everything from scratch, and your transparency in stating everything so clearly and sticking to it is just awesome. And we are just praying that we would be multiplied and replicated in all of us, because this is not about you, it is about all of us. If this fails, we have failed. I was just reminded of the Wright brothers, how many times they tried to create that airplane with people laughing, with people mocking. But before they died, they had produced 120 airplanes. So Quinty, keep us flying. Thank you so much for your resilience and your dedication to this.
Oh, thank you.
I'm honored. I am honored to be part of it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Queen. Thank you. I am so honored myself to hear these words of encouragement. And, like you have put it, the only prayer that we all have is that we multiply ourselves. And, I want to multiply myself in you, and I also would love yourselves to multiply yourselves. And if we keep on multiplying ourselves, then we will really reach the destination that we are destined for. So thank you so much for those kind words. And I am sure that this vision is not going to fail. We are not going to fail it. And also the the event that we are looking forward to on the 31st of August, we are going to achieve, we are going to reach that as these queens. I want to believe that that is very much possible, because what will stand in the way is us not really getting the correct information, or maybe not understanding what is required. But the minute we understand what is at stake, then we will push as hard and as much as we can to reach the destiny that we are really wanting. Because the 31st of August has to write the history for women in this country for having had the audacity, to really stand up in a sector that is male dominated. And, the energy sector is something fairly new, to us, not only as queens, but as a country. And so we are stepping into big shoes here, and we need one another. We need all of us to really step into those shoes and emerge as mighty warriors. And I am really looking forward when we are celebrating our victory as warriors on the 31st of August. So thank you, Queens. And I am very honored also to have all of you, being here and lending me your ears to this opportunity, and not just your ears, but lending me yourselves to be part and immerse yourselves in these opportunities. I really do appreciate you all. Let me give over to Queen Sibu to close, and then we can say our goodbyes. Queen Sibu, can I have your hand, please?
Okay, there she is.
Okay, all right. Let me just unmute you. You are unmuted.
Arise, Queens of Africa, arise. Thank you so much, Queen Tammy, for the wonderful session. And thank you and welcome to our queens who joined us tonight. I believe we have new queens in the house, and that is a proof and that's evidence for us that we are really expanding, that we are really increasing. Without saying much, I believe that each and everyone who is here tonight has a purpose, and they've heeded to the call for a reason. Queen Tammy, when you brought this to us, I'm sure you didn't know how many people would buy into the idea, how many people would understand. But seeing that people are really understanding what you are trying to do, and this is not just for yourself, this is benefiting the entire country. It's benefiting all the women, not excluding anyone outside of Africa, inside of Africa. This opportunity that you have presented to us is a life-changing opportunity that we really thank God for, and that we appreciate you for always heeding to the call and not even coming up with excuses. We understand that you might be exhausted sometimes, but you never miss a Wednesday. You never miss a session. You are always here to feed us with such rich knowledge, with information that is very deep and intense. For such classes, normally people pay a fee, and with you having us here, giving us this opportunity to learn, this is such an exciting platform for us. Every Wednesday, I look forward to catching up and hearing what is new. And for us to know that we are journeying on a life-changing opportunity that would not only benefit us, but the future generations as well. That on its own tells us that we are on the right track. And with just those words, I want to say thanks again, Queen Tammy, for not being selfish. Thank you again for trusting other women and not being jealous of the opportunity to open it up to other people and to say, here, come, let's eat. Come, let's share this piece of pie. Cut, you have an opportunity to cut a slice for yourself. This is the platform that you've created for us, that we should really be taking it up with excitement and bringing in other queens. Remember, poverty is very real in our communities. And with that being said, poverty mainly affects women because the women are the ones who look after the children. Women are the ones who make sure that the children have clothes, the children have food. So for opportunities that are opening up for women, I always get excited because I know it's not just about the woman, it's about the entire household, it's about the entire family. So
before electricity cuts me off. Thank you so much, Queens, and I wish we can all just unmute and.
Okay, I think the electricity has cut our queen off. You can all unmute. Let me see if I need to unmute you from here, and we can say our goodbyes and our hellos. Let me just unmute everybody, and thank you once again. Please don't forget, next week is the biggest week of our master classes. You have to be here. You don't want to miss next week. And also maybe if you can invite, your queens. I think you have been unmuted, if I'm not mistaken. You can unmute and say your
Queen
thoughts.